This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Bird. On today's the day, the NFL is officially back. The long offseason has finally ended, when the Super Bowl champion Eagles will open up their season against the Cowboys tonight. We absolutely love the NFL season. It just means it's time for sports to take off. You know, everything's cooking right now. And in the past, this is a game where the Super Bowl champions are typically dominant, as they are 13-5 in NFL kickoff games going back to 2004. With the Giants, Ravens, Pats, Rams, and Chiefs the only 5 defending champs to lose. And opening night also means it's banner night for the Eagles, something head coach Nick Sirianni didn't even know about.
The last banner night in 2018, it's famous that the fans booed the Eagles at halftime because they weren't happy with the way things were going, albeit it was banner night. How do you feel about the fact that even though it is banner night for you guys, the fans will still have the standard of performing and winning at a high level?
Yeah, I didn't know it was banner night. We won't be out for that.
I'll ignore the rest of your question. We won't be out for that. Now, the Eagles were 6.5-point favorites for this game for most of the offseason. And then Micah Parsons got traded from the Cowboys to the Packers. And boom, now we're looking at an 8.5-point spread. And kind of crazy that a non-quarterback can move a line 2 points like that. But before you go and throw everything on Philly, let me hit you with one of the weirdest stats going, which might not be relevant tonight, but for the division overall it makes sense. The NFC East has not had a back-to-back division winner since 2004, when the Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb-led Eagles won the East from 2001 to 2004. You could tell me the stat is true 100 times and I would still never believe you. But back to tonight's game, because it really is strengths versus weakness, as Philly last season was the second best rushing team in the NFL, behind only the Ravens, led by a guy who I think should have got more MVP buzz, Saquon Barkley. And they're up against last season's 4th worst rush D, a defense that's arguably even worse this year. And checking FanDuel, Saquon Barkley at 93.5 rushing yards seems like a safe bet. Although it is a high number, I'm banking on him to go over. You can watch the Cowboys and Eagles tonight on TSN at 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific. But we got you covered with pregame nice and early, starting at 7 Eastern. The Blue Jays wrapped up their series against the Reds yesterday, taking 2 of 3. And thanks to a much-needed Yankee loss, the lead is back to 3.5. But guess who they got for the next 3 games? That's right, the Yankees. But before we get to New York, let's just look at what's been working for the Jays lately. The guy leading the charge is definitely George Springer. After a down year in 2024, he's bounced back with what might be his best offensive season in his career, batting .307 with 27 homers and 72 RBIs. Both his batting average and on-base percentage would be career highs if he can keep it up the rest of the way. And if we zoom into just his last 15 games, the numbers are even better, because he's batting over .400 with 8 home runs and 13 RBIs. At 35, Springer putting together a career year has been one of the biggest surprises of the Jays season, and a major driver of their success. And this girl is just happy she drafted him for a fantasy baseball team. Who would have thought? Not everything's great in Jays land though, because the bullpen is a real concern. Over the last 15 days, the Jays relievers have combined for a 5.06 ERA. They are blowing leads late and have brought the team's blown save total to 23 on the year. As we've told you pretty much over the last 2 weeks, Jeff Hoffman has been up and down, and he's been ice cold lately with a 9.82 ERA over the last 15 days. Meanwhile, deadline pickup Louis Varland hasn't been helping much either, as he's got a 6.91 ERA through his first 14 1/3 innings. So with the bullpen struggling, today's off day becomes the perfect time to reset before what might be the biggest series of the season against the Yankees. New York has won 8 of their last 10 and climbed back into second place and right into this division race, just 3.5 out of first. The Yankees came into the year heavy favorites to win the AL East, boosting one of the deepest rosters in baseball, led by arguably the best player in the world, Aaron Judge. And while they haven't lived up to those expectations all season, they really are rounding into form at the perfect time now, aren't they? This is one of the best rosters in baseball with 4 former MVPs in the lineup. And this weekend series could go a long way into deciding the division. If Toronto somehow takes care of business and sweeps, then a 6.5 game lead over the Yanks seems pretty insurmountable. But if they stumble and get swept themselves, it's hard to see them hanging on to this division. Either way, buckle up, because this Jays-Yankees matchup has all the feelings of October baseball. To tennis, and Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime has done it again, winning in a marathon thriller last night to advance to his second career Grand Slam semi-final. And here's a pretty wild stat. It was exactly 4 years ago to the day that he last made the semis at Flushing Meadows, and he's really knocked off great players along the way, beating number 3 seed Alexander Zverev, number 15 Andrei Rublev, and number 8 Alex de Minaur, on his way to the semis. It's the first time he's knocked off multiple top 20 players in a single tournament, but tomorrow will be a true test against Sinner. And just look at this semi, because Felix is definitely the odd man out here, as there's a combined 33 major wins with 3 of the semifinalists. And then Felix just hanging around with his 2 semifinal appearances at majors. But what is better than an underdog story? You can watch Felix versus Sinner tomorrow on TSN. I'm Bart Scott. Cannot wait. Time now for my favorite segment, and yours, that we love sports today.
Why we love sports today.
And most babies, they can't do much. They eat, they cry, they poop, and that's about it. But consider this baby the exception to that rule.
There, look. Can you spin it on your finger?
Are you spinning? He's spinning. Good.
Wait, I love this baby. But for a second there, I thought he was actually going to spin it, so the bar was set too high. He couldn't reach it. That's it for today. We'll see you back tomorrow at 3 Eastern, New Pacific, and enjoy that NFL kickoff tonight, friends.